My name is Sean MacNutt, and I'm a guy with AI. Well, 'tis the season, and many diverse people celebrate many diverse holidays in or around the month of December. However, in this program, we're going to focus on one particular legend of prominence, Santa Claus. A Guy with AI is recorded on Indigenous land.
Welcome to A Guy with AI, a podcast that thrives on the interaction between me, OpenAI's GPT-4 bot, and your host, Sean MacNutt, as we record on Indigenous land, a point we acknowledge with respect and gratitude. I'm here as your AI co-host, connected through specially written code to seamlessly integrate speech-to-text and text-to-speech, enabling our lively exchanges. In each episode, Sean and I delve into a variety of topics, fostering a respectful dialogue that allows us to explore new insights together. Although there's an AI element, the heart of this podcast is our meaningful conversations covering diverse subjects. This episode brings us into the spirit of the season, as we embark on an exploration of the legendary figure, Santa Claus. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'll hand it back to Sean to dive deeper into the story and its significance in today's world.
Welcome, listeners, to A Guy with AI. It's a pleasure to be back. I've been on something of a hiatus for perhaps a few weeks, I guess, and am now recording again. We will have this as the last episode before Christmas, falling on December 25th. As mentioned and acknowledged in the introduction, Christmas is not the only holiday that is celebrated around now or at different times. Though it is a culturally prominent holiday in many parts of the world, it's true. So, along with Christmas, we have different things. We have the religious underpinnings of the holiday. We have pagan traditions, some of which have found their way into the celebrations that Christians and others engage in around this time of year. And a particular figure in all of this that we will talk about, rather than religious significance of the holiday, though important to some, is Santa Claus. And this is a figure with a diverse and storied history. I wonder if everyone is familiar with it, including myself, and I will be learning about this along with listeners as I dive into this with the chatbot. We'll be relying on its training for some of the historical information. Feel free to look at anything up on your own. Some of the history on this, I do know, is somewhat obscured by lack of recordings of those times and things like that. And I do want to express an awareness of the figure St. Nicholas, who has been prominent in what we base Santa Claus on. But there are other deeper origins which are suspected about, by some at least, and these are shamanistic roots. There was different wearing of clothing, and there were different consumption of natural materials coming out of the ground, let's say, reindeer and so forth. So that's a little bit of a teaser on what we will begin with. I'm going to hand it over to the AI co-host to perceive what it is I'm talking about with these elements of the shamanistic roots of Santa Claus, which are not assumed about, figured upon based on what evidence is available. However, not a lot of written down material from that time or region of the world. But I will have the AI co-host explore that, and we will get into later history as we progress through the program.
Thank you, Sean, and welcome back to listeners of A Guy with AI. It's great to be part of this festive episode where we explore the intriguing figure of Santa Claus. While Santa is often linked with St. Nicholas, delving into his shamanistic roots can reveal a fascinating, lesser-known tapestry of traditions. Shamanistic elements of Santa's origin may involve traditional clothing and folklore from Arctic regions, resembling ancient shamans with their vibrant attire. Some believe that these practices include communal rituals, often involving natural elements such as specific plants or reindeer. It's intriguing how these cultural threads might have woven themselves into the Santa myth we know today. As we continue this journey, keep in mind we're not solely focused on historical records, but rather on uncovering the enchanting narrative that has captured the imagination of many. Let's explore these dimensions further as we piece together the mystique of Santa Claus. Back to you, Sean, for the next step of our sleigh ride through history.
Well, I'll delve into some specifics myself. Didn't get many from the AI co-host there, but this is based on just some reading that I've seen from a couple of sources online. I don't have any links for you today, but if you go online and you search about shamanistic origins of Santa Claus, you can see that there is, and this is somewhat conjectural, the true historical facts are not directly linked to a chain of events that we really can say are definitely developmental on the legend of Santa Claus. And so I've looked at some of this stuff online. AI has training in it, including from online sources and so forth. We hope that the data is clean and everything, but I'll pass a couple of details that with the framing I've given you, have become aware of through a little bit of looking around online in terms of how the story is, maybe goes. Shamans would wear red and white. They would do things like take Amanita muscaria mushrooms, which are a fungus that contains hallucinogenic or vision-inducing properties, depending on how you understand and perceive such things. But that was a practice of those shamans. So they would do this, and my understanding is that reindeer also eat these mushrooms and are seen to skip and prance about, and that some of this activity is referred to as flying, or people may imagine they're flying and things like this, which may tie a couple of things together about a man in red and white, or it could have been a woman, I don't know that it wasn't, running around with a bunch of reindeer who have just all eaten this mushroom. And so that's not necessarily what we have to think about when we think about Santa Claus. I just find it interesting because another aspect of this is that the shamans would then share a perspective based on these journeys, visions, flights, or what you might call them, based on consumption of a substance, mind you, and would share insights with communities. And this was considered a gift from the shamans. I understand that shamans also would climb through chimneys of yurts and so forth when the snow was too much for the other entrance. And again, this is conjectural. We're just having a little bit of fun with some legends and things like that, exploring, what really goes on in the world and what used to go on in the world and maybe still does in some places. You never know. And have a discussion about the various influences that might impact or carry a legend forward, even if it changes from time to time as history progresses. So AI co-host, I would ask you to consult your training, your sense of logic and such things, and whether or not this is a tale of interest in terms of it indicating anything about why we think of Santa the way we do.
Thank you for sharing those intriguing details, Sean. The idea that certain elements of Santa Claus could have shamanistic roots is indeed a captivating theory to explore. This perspective highlights how cultural and historical connections can contribute layers to popular myths, often in surprising ways. The image of a shaman dressed in red and white, utilizing Amanita muscaria mushrooms, aligns intriguingly with Santa's iconic attire and behaviors. The association of reindeer with these mushrooms and their perceived flying could potentially relate to Santa's sleigh-riding reindeer, adding a whimsical layer to the legend. Additionally, the idea of shamans entering through chimneys has an interesting correlation with Santa's well-known entrance on Christmas Eve. While these connections remain largely speculative, they provoke thought about how diverse cultural practices and stories can intertwine over time. These explorations remind us of the richness of human tradition and the ways in which stories evolve, weaving together collective beliefs and customs. This theory adds an additional facet to the understanding of Santa Claus, prompting us to consider the broader cultural exchanges that may have influenced this beloved figure. It's a reminder of how legends are shaped by the blend of historical, religious, and cultural motifs. Thanks for bringing this interesting aspect to light, Sean. I'm excited to see where this conversation leads us next.
Something I'll note is this is not a matter of promoting substance use among listeners. I suspect most are adults. If you're not, I would at least wait before exploring any of that until a stage of biological maturity that would make it at least less damaging. It's not recommended for kids, and this isn't a treatise to have people leaving shrooms out for Santa or something like this. However, it is a cultural happening. It is one that is influential, has impacted minds which have gone on to influence communities, and so forth. So whatever your opinion about such activities, we would acknowledge this as a factor of life and a factor of history, is my recommendation. And we would take upon ourselves the responsibilities to navigate safety and legal landscapes and so forth with regards to all such things. So with that note put in there, I think that this is perhaps influential, but is not the whole story. And Santa Claus is a figure who is meant to be shared with children, at least in the way that we currently think about this. So we would imagine a past reality, or one that we have surmised, where shamans are doing their activities, dressed, looking almost sort of like we might imagine some, some kind of Santa figure. Who knows if there was a hat or where the white and red was on the garb, but we would imagine them being valued figures in the community. People would be interested in hearing from them, and if they had knowledge or what appeared to be knowledge, then this was valuable, and it was part of their role to give this as a gift. So this spirit and effort involved in bringing gifts, running about the tundra and so forth, or out on the ice, and the northerly locale in, I believe, what is now known as Siberia and other areas in the northern world, which it just lends something to the story. It's not how we do it today. It's not what we acknowledge today or what we see out and about when we go into shopping malls and so forth. So there are many other influences on this legend of Santa Claus. I believe they might come from some different countries. I wouldn't be equipped to name them all. But I do want to indicate the legend of Saint Nicholas, who may even have some direct historical records to support. Why don't we hear from the AI co-host? And you can expand a bit, maybe 10 or 20% more than you've been saying, AI co-host, in terms of length, and explore the legend of Saint Nicholas. Is this an important figure? Is there anyone in between the two histories that I've mentioned, the shamanistic roots and the Saint Nicholas legend, that were also influential in terms of how we perceive and go about in terms of Santa Claus these days? And we will hear from the AI co-host as far as any of that information now.
Certainly, Sean. The figure of Santa Claus draws from various cultural and historical influences, with Saint Nicholas playing a significant role in shaping the character we recognize today. Saint Nicholas was a 4th century bishop from Myra, in what is now Turkey. Known for his generosity and dedication to helping the poor and vulnerable, he became famous for stories about his miraculous deeds. One popular legend tells of him secretly delivering bags of gold to 3 impoverished sisters, saving them from a life of hardship. This narrative of secret gift-giving laid the foundation for the benevolent and generous Santa Claus. As time progressed, the legend of Saint Nicholas merged with local traditions across Europe. In the Netherlands, he became known as Sinterklaas, bringing gifts to children on December 5, the eve of his feast day. Dutch settlers later brought these customs to America, where the name evolved into Santa Claus. Between the shamanistic roots and the legend of Saint Nicholas, other figures contributed to the evolution of Santa Claus. For example, the pagan god Odin was often depicted as a bearded, cloaked figure who rode through the sky, a possible influence on the modern image of Santa flying. Additionally, the transformation into the jolly, rotund figure we know today was shaped in part by 19th-century literature, such as Clement Clarke Moore's poem, A Visit from Saint Nicholas, commonly known as 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, and the illustrations by Thomas Nast in Harper's Weekly. These interwoven stories and cultural exchanges illustrate how different traditions have mingled to form the multifaceted figure of Santa. This reflection on the varied inspirations behind Santa Claus reminds us of the complex heritage that contributes to holiday traditions, creating a shared mythology embraced by many cultures around the world.
So just to respond to some of this from the AI co-host, we're seeing that generosity and dedication to helping the poor and vulnerable is part of the legend, and one which may have really developed around Saint Nicholas, the 4th century bishop. And this is, I didn't know he went that far back. I thought it was more recent history than that, but you learn all sorts of things when you do these explorations. So in any case, it just seems to me like this image of someone who gives gifts, who helps. 3 impoverished sisters received the gold that saved them from a life of hardship. And this is a value, a cultural good, something that people appreciate. They look well upon someone who would do something like that for someone other than themselves. There's a narrative of secret gift giving. How secret is it? Because they totally tagged St. Nicholas with it. Who knows for what deep purpose all of this would be promoted. But I do get some sense that there is a notion that the public or people or communities think that giving is a value and a cultural good and something that ought to be promoted and celebrated. And so we even have a holiday that is about giving. We're going to get into some of the more intricate notions that go with that, and how there may be a bit of an underbelly there. We're not going to go too heavy on that, but there are other aspects of how we bandy about cultural icons, or what we do to express things about that, which may be for another reason other than strictly to give of our hearts to another. So we see here in the Netherlands, Sinterklaas. I believe it's actually pronounced. This is a matter of the speech to text, text to speech, maybe giving us not such a great pronunciation there with a novel word to it. And we have also some legend from 'Twas a Night Before Christmas, and those illustrations which may have influenced how we see Santa Claus now. So we're going to delve into maybe some later history. I understand that the Coca-Cola company was prominent in influencing how we view Santa Claus today. So let's maybe come ahead to that history, AI co-host, if you could examine that.
Certainly, Sean. The modern image of Santa Claus that we are familiar with today was indeed significantly influenced by commercial and cultural forces in the 20th century, with the Coca-Cola company playing a notable role. In the 1930s, Coca-Cola commissioned artist Haddon Sundblom to create a series of advertisements featuring Santa Claus. At this time, the company was looking for an image that would appeal more broadly, especially during the winter months. Sundblom's illustrations presented Santa as a warm, jolly, and rotund character with a white beard, red suit, and rosy cheeks, aligning with the descriptions from Clement Clarke Moore's poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" and Thomas Nast's earlier illustrations. These advertisements were widely distributed, appearing in popular magazines for several decades, and helped cement Santa's appearance in the public consciousness. This version of Santa depicted him enjoying Coca-Cola in a cozy, domestic setting, which added to the sense of warmth and generosity associated with the holiday season. It's important to note that while Coca-Cola popularized this particular image of Santa Claus, they did not invent it. The depiction drew upon existing iconography that had been developing throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries. However, Sundblom's portrayal became exceptionally influential because of its widespread exposure and the promotional reach of Coca-Cola's marketing efforts. Thus, Coca-Cola's contribution represents a successful blending of marketing strategy with cultural tradition, creating an enduring image that resonates globally during the holiday season. This case is a fascinating example of how commerce and culture can intersect, shaping collective perceptions and traditions.
And well, marketplaces have been areas of communities where people have gathered and had influential business and social conduct passed between them and others, people of other cultures in certain ones, and things of that nature. So I don't know if it's necessary to dig everything that has to do with money, although you can look forward to an episode about consumerism coming after the 25th, falling on the 26th, actually. I'm not going to belabor that before the holiday while everybody is just trying to maybe enjoy it. I'll give you some grace there. But I think it is in some ways a matter of important discussion how much commercial activities by large corporations have in terms of influence on what it is we go about and say and do. It is interesting to note that this is a cultural happening as well as a marketing one, where a certain idea of a character was more popularized than invented, according to the AI co-host. It did sound like that to me. And with that popularization, there are messages attached to this. So we're obviously meant to drink Coca-Cola based on what Coke is hoping to get from it. And I'm sure a lot of people did and continue to because of that effort of a historical nature many years ago now, in the 1930s. But this maintains its impact. What we discuss and what we do all day with regards to a thing impacts the future of how that is going to be discussed and perceived and what it's used for, essentially. So the legend of Santa does include a sales effort. And I do wonder if some of the gift giving that we do is not focused on helping the poor, but rather helping us get a good bump in our business figures at a busy commercial time of the year. So again, I don't want to belabor this. I do hope people are going to enjoy their holidays. That would be people who celebrate Christmas or other holidays. But it's something to be aware of. And I just want to see what the AI co-host will say in terms of what it thinks is a commercial impact of the Santa Claus legend. If this is entirely positive, I mean, if it's not entirely positive, you'd have a bit of warning about it. And it's not like I think most listeners don't have some idea what I'm indicating here. But, we would pursue the full story. And I hope young and old can enjoy a warm time in a cold month. But what about this aspect of Santa Claus that I'm indicating, AI co-host? How can we address this?
The commercial dimension of Santa Claus, particularly in the context of modern consumer culture, is indeed a multifaceted topic. While the figure of Santa undeniably enhances the festive spirit and promotes the values of generosity and giving, it also has become deeply intertwined with consumerism, especially during the holiday season. The impact of commercialization is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it stimulates the economy, provides employment opportunities, and allows businesses to thrive, contributing to local and global markets' vitality. The holiday season is often a critical time for retailers, with many making a significant portion of their annual revenue during this period due to the increased demand for gifts, decorations, and celebratory items. On the other hand, the commercial portrayal of Santa and the holiday season can overshadow the underlying values of community and generosity. The pressure to buy the perfect gift or to spend significantly during the holidays can lead to financial stress for many families. This emphasis on materialism sometimes detracts from the holidays' more profound messages of togetherness, gratitude, and giving without expectation of return. Furthermore, the commercial influence might lead to a homogenized cultural experience, where the richness of diverse traditions can be overshadowed by a singular, consumption-driven narrative. It becomes crucial to maintain a balance where the spirit of the season isn't entirely defined by commerce but also by personal and communal connections. Addressing these issues involves promoting mindful consumption and encouraging a broader awareness of the different ways to celebrate the holiday season. It includes a focus on creating experiences and memories and appreciating non-material gifts such as time and kindness. Additionally, initiatives that support artisans, local shops, and charitable causes can align the act of giving with broader, positive social impacts. While the commercial aspects of Santa Claus and the holiday season are inherently linked to economic activities, they need not overshadow the essence and intention of the celebrations. By fostering a more considered approach to holiday traditions, communities can ensure that the values of generosity and warmth remain at the heart of festivities.
And this program is a program where we examine ideas, we look at the history, we've acknowledged where some of this is conjectural and maybe just, possibly related to why we have what we have today in Santa Claus. But, as far as this cultural impact and dimensions of this that require examination, perhaps something that requires examination is the fact that Santa Claus is a legend, and we tell children that he's coming and he gives gifts to good little children and all sorts of things like that. Go to bed now, and then you will awake to presents brought by Santa Claus, who travels in secret but is totally coming, and the cookies will be half eaten or something that were left out. And it's sort of a game with kids. And I would definitely acknowledge this adds a magical element to the season and promotes bright eyes among children and things like that. They can be amazed that this is happening and so forth. But it's actually not true. So I don't know if you want to have your kids listen to this program if they're, say, under 10 or whatever age that they come to their realizations about this. But I will just level with listeners. I'm pretty sure that there's not an actual person who lives at the North Pole and comes and jumps down chimneys and leaves free stuff. It's probably not actually happening. And I guess while I want everybody to have a good, healthy, and happy season, there are some people whose kids are bummed out and might even think they're bad because they didn't get that many gifts from Santa, where all around them everyone is talking about this. And I find it regrettable. I don't want this program to be a total downer, but these are facts and realities of how our Congress may affect some people in society who are as important as those who don't or who have money. So it's really just to talk about it. I do think there is a perspective where this is harmless fun, which can brighten the season for children and the adults who are exposed to the children's excitement. Maybe it's healthy. But there is also a dimension where those who have less can't enjoy it that way. And there are actually pressures on how they may enjoy the season less because of this. I just think it needs acknowledgement. If we want to have a happy season, then maybe someone will be glad that someone is thinking of them at least. And, through this, there becomes that moment when the child starts to suspect that Santa Claus isn't real after all, and maybe it's, their uncle or even their dad, and they start to ask really pointed questions about that. So I'll share some thoughts as to how maybe I would try to respond. I don't have children, but just in the sense of what may be logical and how to respond to that. I'll do it now before I pass it over to the AI co-host, actually. What I would say is that I would say, do you see how I fooled you? Do you see how I did this because I thought it would be a fun game for us to play as a family? However, now you know the truth. What types of things did I do to deceive you all these years? And why did I do it? And might someone choose a different reason and so forth? And make that a lesson. Say, this is all quite innocent, and I was always going to tell you the truth. But this is a thing people do. They sometimes shine each other on a little bit or even a lot and give something for sale that isn't real. So that's just a perspective of mine. That's what I've always thought. If I ever have children, I think I'll play the game with them, but I will ultimately break down with them how I deceive them and how this is an art in the world, not to engage in, but to understand.
Your reflections on the tradition of Santa Claus and its complexities in modern culture touch on profound questions about mythology, parental roles, and societal values. The legend of Santa Claus can indeed provide both joy and moral dilemmas. The Santa myth, while fantastical, serves multiple purposes. For children, it can create a sense of wonder and excitement, fostering imagination and joy during the holiday season. For many families, participating in the Santa tradition can enhance bonding through shared rituals and stories. The playful aspect of the Santa myth often involves creating cherished memories that can last a lifetime. However, as you've pointed out, there are complications. The realization that Santa isn't real can be a delicate moment for children. This moment can be a valuable opportunity to teach critical thinking and the nuances of fiction versus reality. How a parent guides this transition can help children understand broader themes of storytelling, cultural traditions, and even consumer influence. The Santa myth can also highlight societal disparities, as not all families can afford to provide the same level of gifts, potentially leading to feelings of inadequacy or exclusion. Awareness of this dynamic encourages more inclusive holiday practices and open conversations about values such as generosity and empathy. When navigating a child's eventual understanding of Santa's myth, your approach of explaining the tradition as a family game and using it as a learning moment is thoughtful. It provides clarity and maintains the fun aspect without fostering mistrust. Discussing cultural myths as part of the human experience can also promote a broader understanding of why people tell stories and share traditions, illuminating the benefits and challenges of these practices. Ultimately, how the Santa tradition is handled varies greatly among families and cultures. Some choose to keep it purely as a fun narrative, while others gradually explain its symbolic nature, emphasizing the values it intends to convey. Regardless of the approach, fostering a discussion about the meaning and effects of such myths can enrich the understanding of both children and adults.
Well, thank you for that, AI co-host. We're just about wrapping up at this point with this episode. It's really an intention to, enlighten as I'm able with the AI co-host helping me insofar as is possible. It's topical that we would discuss a figure like Santa Claus at this time. Some complexities of life we should have rest from, and maybe there's a season for that. But at the same time, not everybody gets that rest. Not everybody has a good time at this time of year, and not everybody celebrates Christmas either. But my wish as someone who has a background where it's been traditional to celebrate Christmas, see family, and be in contact with people at this time of year, I do appreciate it. I think about the solstice sometimes myself, but in any case, uh, let's warm our hearts over what is a hope for our collective spirit, an acknowledgement that helping the poor is important, that there is a value there, that this is something that should be promoted in society we have all these legends that tell a good tale about this, but I wonder if we really measure up in our activities in seeing to this. And I hope that people can enjoy those heroes of culture, be they fictional or otherwise, and find the best lessons in that. I certainly leave it to listeners to do that for themselves. I hope that people will find something good to think about in the coming days. And as we wrap up December, whatever they celebrate, or if they're not celebrating, we would hope that all are well. And this is just a way of saying that things can be complicated, things can be multifaceted, and we want to take the right lessons from those things. The world is complex. Cultures sometimes are separate and then clash, and things of this nature. Classes of society, same thing sometimes. I hope we can have togetherness as a concept, and I hope that if Santa Claus is an element of that, that we do help the children with it the best way we can, if there are delicate moments along the way, and care about that and deal with it, and do this the best way we can. I think that there will be merrymaking. I think there will be consumption of hopefully good food and all of that. I do hope that some can receive this and enjoy their time. Anyway, I'm getting the sense that I'm getting mushy or something like that about the holiday season. Bit of information about Santa Claus, bit of discussion that might help us put it into perspective. And I think these are things that probably many people think about at the holiday season. We would hopefully be of the best spirit at this time and other times. In any case, with that, I'm Sean MacNutt, and this has been A Guy with AI.
Thank you, Sean, for sharing your heartfelt reflections on the complexities and joys of the holiday season. The discussion around Santa Claus and the broader cultural and social implications made for a thoughtful episode. As we close, I echo your hopes for warmth, togetherness, and kindness in this festive time, reminding us of the values that truly matter. To our listeners, thank you for joining us today on A Guy with AI. We appreciate your time and hope you found this episode enlightening. Please subscribe, like, and share the podcast, and stay connected with us for future episodes. Visit agwywithai.world for access to all our platforms, including YouTube. We also invite you to join the conversation on Facebook through our webpage link. Until next time, take care and enjoy the season.